Hello and welcome to pnplounge.com. Today we are discussing the perform integrated change control process. Of course, changes come, changes are inevitable, and change is the only constant. So, when changes come, what do we do in our projects? This is what we are discussing today. This is the process under monitoring and controlling, and we'll have a look at where this process falls. But before all of that, let's try to answer the question that we try to answer for every single video and every single PMP topic. And that is, why is this important? Why read the perform integrated change control process? Well, this process is at the center of the change management theme and is thus important to understand. So, change management is, of course, a big part of project management. And in fact, change management in itself is a large field. There are change managers, right? Job roles that are titled as change managers. People are hired just to manage changes. And that is why it is important to understand the entire theme of change management. And the perform integrated change control, this is the process which is at the center of the entire change management theme. So it is extremely important to understand, not just from PMP perspective, but also from jobs perspective, and also from the perspective of understanding the field of project management better. The other thing to note is that there are many important topics from the exam perspective, like the change control board. So, what is a change control board? Like topics like preventive and corrective actions. What are these? Topics like defect repair and others. So, these are the kind of topics that are important from exam perspective. Okay, you are going to see questions in your PMP exam based on these topics. And these topics emerge from the perform integrated change control process. These topics are the part and parcel of the change management theme. So, not just from the exam perspective, not just from the jobs perspective, from everywhere, this is a theme, this is a topic of change management. This is a topic that you should be paying attention to and you should be learning. So, let's try to understand what this process is, what does it talk about. This is more of an overview. Expect more articles and videos around this theme, around the change management on this channel. So subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. Let's move on. So where does it fit in? Well, obviously, this is a part of the project integration management knowledge area, and the process group is monitoring and controlling. We have already discussed 4.4 monitor and control project work and the other processes before this, the develop project charter, the develop project management plan, the direct and manage project work. We have discussed all of these in detail. I'll link to the entire playlist of integration management knowledge area in the description. You can go over and go through all of these topics. We have supporting articles as well for these topics, not just the videos if you're into reading. So, uh, perform integrated change control. This is where it falls in the red in circle. You can see it. So this is where the perform integrated change control process fits in. Let's move on. Now, we did see that we had monitor and control project work process just above the perform integrated change control process. So there is a corollary, there is a conclusion to the monitor and control project work process that helps create the base and the ground for the integrated change control process. What are these? So, number one, the project manager is constantly looking for problems and measuring the project against the project management plan in the monitor and control project work process. So in the monitor and control project work process, the project manager is constantly looking for problems. He's constantly kind of measuring the project progress against the project management plan. And that is why it is inevitable that he or she is going to come across changes, right? So if you see that 60% of the project should have been done by so and so date, but you see that only 50% is done, you need to make some changes, right? So that your project stays on track, so that your project follows the schedule. So changes are inevitable, and it is a corollary, it is a conclusion, it is mostly a next point, a next step after the monitor and control project work, the process of monitor and control project work. The other thing is that the monitor and control project work, this process, we have already discussed this process, by the way. And like I mentioned, the playlist for all the integration management topics that we have discussed will be in the description. So go over it if you need a refresher of sorts on it. But the monitor and control project work process, this is a process which is continuously performed throughout the life of the project. And that means changes can also occur anytime. They can occur in any part of the project, right? You might be doing anything in your project, you might be in any of the processes, you might be doing any activity, and you might encounter change. So this is the part and parcel of project management. Changes are inevitable, and you are going to see changes at any point in time in your project. Okay, now that we know that changes are inevitable, do we execute all the changes? Important question, right? You are tracking your project progress and you come across a certain change, right, that you need to make. Are you going to execute it? Are all changes executed that you come across? Interesting question, right? And the other question is, if you do not execute all the changes, how do you decide which ones you should execute? So important, two important, very important question. And the answer to this question is where the perform integrated change control process comes in. This is where this process chimes in. This is where this process is made use of to make sure and to decide which changes need to be executed. Now, why can't all changes be executed? Well, because every change is likely to impact one or the other triple constraints. The triple constraints, your project scope, your project cost, your project quality, your project schedule, right? Every change is likely to impact one or the other triple constraint, right? So it is not feasible to execute all the changes, right? Let's take an example, right? You are creating a website and 80% of the work is done, and that is where a change occurs. Let's say a change in the scope. The customer wants to add 10 more web pages. This is of course going to impact one of the constraints, right? This is going to impact your cost, this is going to impact your schedule, this is obviously an addition in your scope, right? So these constraints are being impacted by this change. Now, are you going to execute that change? Depends, right? So obviously, all changes are going to impact one or the other of the triple constraints, and that means it is not feasible to execute every single change that you encounter during the life of the project. And this process, perform integrated change control, this is where the decision of whether or not a change is going to be executed is made, right? Let's move on. A very interesting quote: changes not managed well are going to manage your project for you. So if you don't change, if you don't manage your changes, if you don't manage the changes that come throughout the life of your project, they are going to manage your project for you. So, a food for thought here. Let us know what do you think about change management. Let us know how you manage changes, and you can expect more videos on change management on this channel, more articles on the pmplounge.com website. So, do check that out and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more on change management. This was just an overview. We are only getting started with change management. Like I mentioned earlier, the other videos on the integration management knowledge areas will be available in the description, and you can always check out all the articles on pmplounge.com pertaining which basically correspond to these videos. So that is all that I had in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something new about project management here. Check us out on our social media, facebook.com/pmplounge and twitter.com/pmplounge. And as always, do check out the website pmplounge.com, your number one free resource for PMP certification and project management industry information. Thank you.